30.772.
Before I bring it into turn 3, I'm going to take a look at the garage. I run a 2.87 steering opinion, which is what I run at all tracks in the next gen, and I lowered the brake bias to a 39.9. The car gets pretty tight under braking, so I just lowered it as much as possible without changing the MCs at all. Now heading into turn 3, this is your get to speed lap. This is going to be my second lap. Normally your second lap is faster in the next gen. Fifth gear, maxing out the revs into 3. I lift really early and get on the brakes. Lift at the light, get on the brakes. And then I pick up the gas pretty strong. I'm trying to pick up the gas early and pick it up strong. Not full throttle, so full throttle I get into the wall, and I don't want to do that. That'd ruin my up to speed lap. So kind of getting really close to the wall. Not full throttle, but almost full throttle. Get on that early, and now there's this bump right there, just before that red line. The bump will help your car turn, but it will also upset your car a lot. So I try to keep the wheels straight if I can. You see I'm turning a lot to the left, and then once I get close to that bump, I do a slight rotation to the right, just very slight. Try to keep the wheel a little bit straighter while I go over that bump. The straighter your wheel is, the less the bump will affect your car. Notice I start moving down the track. Once the bump hits me, I move down. And I kind of angle my car downwards and turn down the track so I can get a straight exit. I also get full throttle right after the bump. There's a bump and full throttle. Now I tried to open the wheel up early. Tried to get the car going straight as soon as possible. And I got the wall. Just a little bit. Just barely. It didn't help me at all. It only slowed me down, so it wasn't that drastic of a slowdown. It was still my fast lap, so I kept it. The track is pretty tricky. So open up the wheel as much as you can. You say I opened up too much. You got the wall. Now you cut across the apron in fifth gear, hugging the yellow line. Now you're gonna set up for your turn 1 entry. So you're gonna drive up to the wall, and as soon as you do that, you're turning into the corner. Still in fifth gear, you're gonna go fifth gear around the whole track because you're maxed out revs. So drive up to that wall, turn in. I'm turning in right before this gray patch. See, as soon as that really comes into my view, I'm turning in. There it is, turning in. Now when I turn in, I just let off the gas completely. No brake, just let off the gas completely. As soon as I turn in. So I turn in there. It looks like I just wait a tiny bit. Just wait a tiny bit after I turn in. Right there. See, like right before that gray patch. There you go. Now I'm not running the wall, and I'm not running bottom. I'm kind of running one lane from the top. I noticed that this was the best lane to carry speed, but also get the exit shaped enough to get a good run off the corner. If you were to run the top, the car would get too tight in exit, and if you were to run the bottom, the car would get too tight entry and center, so it just slowed down your middle of the corner. So this is the best lane that I found. Run here, and then you turn down. I get on the gas pretty early, completely off. On the gas pretty early. So like I pass this caution light here, and I start picking up gas. I roll into it pretty quickly. And I shape my exit. Start shaping my exit. I shape it by turning down, trying to get the exit straight. As soon as I pick up that throttle, I'm turning the car down. gonna turn it down all the way to get my left sides on the seam here. So there's kind of two lanes to this. You run one from the top, and then you turn down and run from the bottom. Keeping it full throttle all the way to the exit. As soon as you start shaping out your exit, you can start unwinding the wheel. Exit really comes into view here, so I unwind it. Get as close to the wall as possible. Notice how there's extra safer barrier here, and it goes away right here. You can use that extra bit of space between you and between the car and the wall. So if my car was here, but it was back here, I'd be in the wall. So I'm using that extra little bit of space to carry more speed. I could keep the car turned and not use that extra bit of space. Here you can really see how much extra space you get. The wall is kind of flat there, and then it kind of gives you more space right here. And you can use that extra space. I could put more wheel in it and not use extra space, but the more wheel I have in it, the more it's going to slow the car down. And you see I'm full throttle for a long time throughout this corner. From here, I'm full throttle. Now that we made our exit and our car is straight, I'm going to move it away from the wall a little bit. See right there, I turn the car to get away from the wall a little bit. Because if you were right next to the wall, the side draft would be pretty strong, so just give yourself a little bit of space. And then you see when I start getting into 3, that's when I get close to the wall. The wall does have a little bit of side draft, so I just get a little bit away from that wall. And then come close to it on entry of 3. Right there. Now that I'm looking at enter 3, still in 5th gear, and we're going to run bottom in this corner. We're going to drive right down to the bottom. As soon as I start kind of eyeballing where this solid white line ends and it gets more like dashed and weared out, that's where I'm kind of looking. Once I kind of feel that the car can make it there, that's when I kind of turn in. So it's pretty early. You see where the line is weared out. Driving right to this bottom lane. Not driving right to the paint, but driving right to the bottom lane. We're on the brake pretty hard. Off the gas. Pretty late. That's why we're on the brake pretty hard. I drive it all the way down into the lane before I even get on the brake. I'm like full throttle till a lane from the bottom. Then I get on the brake just slightly. But it'll feel pretty hard for this kind of track. When I get off the brake, I get right back on the gas. It's pretty difficult to know when to get back on the gas. That's what I struggle with a lot. It just takes practice. You can really use the wheel a lot to turn the car to avoid hitting the wall. But if you get on the gas too early, it will just push. So yeah, you really have to get it right, and you really have to practice a lot to get it right. Too early, you're going to plow in the wall. Too late, you're going to lose a lot of time. So using the paint to help the car turn. When I'm on throttle, I'm full throttle. Stabbing that throttle. Driving on the paint, using a lot of wheel to keep it out of the wall. Driving it right up to the wall because you're so tight, you got to use all the track you can. And you drive right back down to the apron, shortcut the track. That's why I ran a 30.772.